Today I'm going to simulate
okay, that is definitely a mini Bloop.
And I don't just mean keeping it alive
I
in a
wouldn't
tank
trust,
for a
bro.
few
Don't
days.
do that, dude.
I want to see what would happen if I raised Bloop from a tiny baby that can fit in my hands all the way to the
This is not a good idea at all, bro. Don't do that.
Imagine hiding somewhere in the ocean.
No.
And that sounds ridiculous.
Bro, he is literally
right
gonna take over the whole ocean. I feel like
at this
if
stage,
you
he's
actually
small
do
enough
this,
to hold, and somehow he looks both
this is not a good idea,
and
bro.
kind
Why
of
are you doing
adorable
this
at the
crap,
same
man?
time. He has the same
It's
giant
not too late
mouth
to go
Bloop
back.
is known for. Tiny little needle-like teeth, a soft, pale body, and these small fins that make him look like some weird baby fish from the bottom of the ocean. And even though he's still tiny, he already looks built to swallow things way bigger than he should be able to.
This is not gonna end well,
right now,
bro.
He mostly
Please
just
don't do
drifts
it.
around, opens that massive mouth, and follows movement through the water, which honestly makes him seem pretty harmless. But that's the part I do not trust. Because if
cannot
Bloop
trust
really
the Bloop
grows
for
the way
one,
people
dude.
think it does, then this little deep-sea
trust them,
gremlin
dude.
is eventually going to turn into a giant open-mouthed predator that can vacuum up fish, hunt in dark water, and possibly become one of the most dangerous things in the ocean. So if I'm actually going to raise him, I need to figure out
why are we
three
doing
things
this now,
fast.
dude?
First, what kind
You're
of
gonna
tank
regret
would a
this,
baby
my guy.
Bloop even need to survive? Second, what does something with a mouth like this actually
What is he
eat
gonna
when
look
it's
like at
small?
the end,
And
though? We have
third,
got to
how
see
fast
that
does
for
it
sure.
grow before keeping it stops feeling like owning a pet and starts feeling like containing a problem? Because even as a baby,
it's gonna
there
be a
are already
problem.
signs that
I'm
this
telling
thing
you,
is
dude.
not normal. His mouth opens way wider than it should for an animal this size. He reacts instantly to movement in the water, and the more comfortable he gets, the more it starts to feel like he isn't just exploring his environment,
you're gonna be cooked,
he's
buddy.
sizing it up.
I'm telling you
So
now, dude.
before this thing gets any bigger, I need to build the perfect first habitat for a creature that looks like it was never supposed to exist in the first place. And if that goes badly, this is going to get out of hand
Bro, he's
way
already
faster than I
doubled the
want it
si-
to.
This
So
is
first,
wild,
I needed
bro.
to build baby Bloop the closest thing possible to a safe home. Since this thing looks like it belongs in the deepest, darkest part of the ocean, I set him up in a cold, saltwater tank with clean
Okay, that
filtration,
seems-
and almost immediately, he started acting weird. Instead of
Bro, of
swimming
course,
like a
he's gonna
normal
go crazy,
fish,
bro.
baby
He's the
Bloop
freaking
mostly
Bloop.
drifted
I
through
thought
the
he
water
beat up
like
the
a
El
pale
Gran
little
Maja, bro.
ghost, turning slowly and tracking anything that moved in front of him, including my hand. At first, I thought that meant he was bonding with me, but then I
No,
gave
bro.
him his first
It
real
is
food
not a
test.
good sign,
I
dude.
started small with tiny live
not a
plankton
good
and
sign.
micro shrimp, which he ate
What is he
easily.
doing,
but the
bro?
strange part wasn't that he was hungry. It was how
Micro
he
shrimp?
ate. Instead of chasing prey normally, Bloop would stay almost completely still, wait for
Bro,
food
he's
to
like a
drift
suction,
close,
of
and then
course,
suddenly
dude.
open his mouth into this giant round tunnel and suck everything nearby
Yeah,
straight
exactly,
in.
bro.
So I tried a few more tests. Different foods,
This is
different
not a good
lighting,
idea, man.
different water flow, and the pattern was always the same. The darker
do
the
it, bro.
tank got, the more active he became. And every time he fed, I could hear this faint, low pulse coming from him. At first, it was almost cute, but the more I watched him, the more it stopped feeling like a baby fish learning to eat and started feeling like a predator practicing. And if he was already
yeah, he
doing
is
that at
definitely
this size,
practicing, dude.
I needed to find out how fast he was growing before this tank became way too small.
Let's see how big it
we
got.
had a serious problem.
Yeah, bro's
Baby
gonna
Bloop had
outgrow your whole
already
entire house,
quadrupled
dude.
in size. He
this
was
is-
way too big for the tank, way too strong for the
He's
glass,
gonna take
and
over, bro.
way
That's
too
all I'm gonna
hungry
say,
for
guys.
this to still feel like
I mean, the
some
Bloop
weird
is-
little pet experiment. So I had to act fast. I moved him into the largest thing I could realistically fill with cold salt water on
I don't
short
know about
notice.
a pool, dude. He's gonna
And
take
seeing
over the whole
Bloop in
entire
there for the
ocean,
first
dude.
time
So, like,
was honestly
we're gonna
insane.
definitely need
Just a
something
few
bigger
weeks
than a
ago,
pool,
This
dude.
thing could fit in my hands. Now he was gliding around an entire pool like he owned it. His body had gotten thicker. The folds along his sides were way more defined, and that giant vacuum mouth somehow looked even worse now that the rest of him had caught up. But the size
those
wasn't
teeth
even
are
the biggest
massive.
problem.
What the-
The food was. Because now Bloop
What
wasn't
are you
eating
even
tiny
feeding this
shrimp
dude?
and little
Like,
test foods anymore. Now he needed serious meals. Whole fish, big cuts
He's
of
gonna
tuna,
need some tuna,
swordfish
bro.
chunks, even small sharks. And he was
Small
going
sharks,
through them
guys.
way
That is what the
faster than I
Bloop is
expected.
eating, dude.
At one point, we were bringing food in so fast it felt less like feeding a pet and more like supplying a construction site. I literally
it
needed
is literally a
machinery to help
construction.
move some of it. And every time food hit the water, Bloop would go from slow and
Bro,
calm
why are
to
you
terrifyingly
putting yourself
efficient.
through this,
he wouldn't
man?
thrash.
Like,
he
you
wouldn't
could do
chase like a normal predator.
anything else,
he would just
man.
lock in, open that enormous mouth, and pull everything in front of him straight into it.
You're gonna
like
regret
the pool
this, bro,
had
at the
developed
end,
a
bro.
drain with teeth. That's when it
But
really
we've gotta
hit
see
me.
the final
I wasn't
evolution,
raising
of
something
course, dude.
unusual anymore. I was raising something
bet it's
built
gonna be
to
so
outscale
massive,
containment,
guys, at
and
the
the pool
end
didn't
of the
solve
video,
the
bro.
problem. it just delayed it. Because even with all that space, Bloop kept growing. Fast.
Holy.
Too fast. His turns were tighter, the water displacement was stronger, the feeding costs
yeah,
kept
you're gonna
rising,
get cooked,
and the
buddy.
equipment I needed just to maintain this setup was getting ridiculous. So eventually, there was only one move left. If I waited
Bro, there's
any
other
longer,
ways we could go about
transporting him
this,
would become
man.
nearly impossible. So with a massive lift rig, heavy straps, cranes, and way more machinery than should ever be required for something that started out as a hand-sized baby, we finally moved Bloop.
Okay, we're gonna, dude, he's gonna take over the whole ocean. Why would you do this?
I had to do the
I don't think it's a great idea, man. You're gonna.
I had to release
Why is he
him
doing this, bro?
into the ocean.
Please don't do it, bro.
Once Bloop hit the open ocean, control.
No, he's gonna take over the
part was
ocean,
done.
dude.
There was no more tank to upgrade, no more pool to expand, no more feeding schedule, no more deciding what he eats. The ocean took over
Yeah, it's
from
over,
there,
buddy.
and Bloop grew into exactly what he always looked like he was going to become. An
Bro, this dude
absolute
is
monster.
yeah, he is
At
a monster,
full
bro.
adult
Like, look at
size,
that.
Bloop was
Full adult.
colossal. From above, his scale barely made sense. His pale body stretched through the water like some living deep-sea disaster, and that giant circular mouth was
Guys,
now
he's gonna
big enough
defeat
to
the El
swallow
Gran
prey
Maha,
that
maybe
would have
in the
looked
video, so
enormous next to the version
you
I
gotta
used
see
to
that.
hold in my hands. So to keep tracking him, I got into a helicopter and started monitoring him from the sky, and what I saw was unreal. Bloop wasn't just surviving out there.
Yo,
he was dominating.
this
He was
dude is
swallowing
massive, guys.
huge
He's
fish
swallowing
whole,
freaking
attacking
sharks.
whales, smashing through schools of sea life like they weren't even there. And every time boats or ships crossed into the wrong
Bro, he's
patch
gonna
of water,
eat your
you
ship.
could see the ocean around
Oh,
him start to
no.
shift before he even surfaced. That
Bro.
low Bloop pulse had become powerful enough
This
to
is
disrupt
not gonna
everything
be
around him.
ending
Fish
well.
scattered, animals changed direction. Whole sections of ocean seemed to react before people even knew he was there. And that was the part that really stayed with me. When Bloop was small, it felt manageable. Strange, sure, but manageable. Like with enough care,
Yeah, buddy,
enough
I
upgrades,
don't know
enough
why you would do
planning,
this,
I could
dude.
keep up. But I couldn't
not a good
because
idea.
every solution only lasted until Bloop outgrew it. And now,
Yeah, my
somewhere
guy
beneath
is
the
gonna
surface,
outgrow it.
that same baby creature I started with is roaming the open
Bro,
ocean
you can't
at
trust
full
the Bloop,
size,
dude.
eating whatever it wants, going wherever it wants, and
Oh,
becoming something
no.
far bigger than a pet ever should have been. And honestly, it's been a crazy journey watching it happen. If you enjoyed this, subscribe because I
Alright, bro,
definitely
I'll
want to do
definitely-
more